Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Today is Friday, March 27, 2026. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Donald Trump talks to 800 farmers at the White House today. None of them black. We'll talk with John Boyd, president of the National Black Farmers Association. Now, folks, in Georgia, Donald Trump won that state in 2016, lost in 2020, won it in 2024. So why do Republicans continue to change the laws in order to make him happy? Now they are trying to target nonpartisan DAs in 5 metro Atlanta counties. What do they have in common? Black people. We'll talk with 2 Georgia lawmakers. In North Carolina, a judge has upheld the state's voter ID law. No shock there. A MAGA-aligned dark money group used an unauthorized photo of President Barack Obama and misrepresented his position on the Virginia vote to change their congressional map. Michael Eric Dyson delivered a powerful prayer on the floor of the Tennessee State House. Republicans walked out, some mad white evangelicals. Guess what? I'll talk with him and State Rep Justin Pearson, who invited him to pray. Well, that racist Secretary of Defense Peter Hegseth reportedly is blocking the promotion of 4 officers, 2 women and 2 black men, to become 1-star generals. And South Africa claims it was disinvited from this summer's G20 summit after the U.S. pressured France. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's
All right, folks. A Georgia Republican wanted to create nonpartisan district attorney elections in all counties and appoint a medical examiner rather than, y'all, this is seriously, elect a coroner. Senate Bill 573, introduced by Ackworth Republican Senator Ed Setzler, would apply to Fulton, DeKalb, Gwinnett, Cobb, and Clayton counties. Just those 5. No other counties in Georgia. He said the change was needed to, quote, combat selective enforcement of laws by politicized DA offices. What's the common denominator in these counties? Oh, black women are the district attorneys in all 5. This is the map. This is the graphic you see right here. Luckily, the bill failed in the Senate by a 24-29 vote, with several prominent Republicans, including Senate Majority Leader Jason Anaviarte and Senator Matt Brass, who chairs the Gatekeeping Senate Rules Committee, joining Democrats in voting against it. Joining me now, Georgia State Senators Sonia Halpern and Kim Jackson, the first female whip in the history of the Georgia Senate. Glad to have both of y'all here. So this is what I keep trying to explain to people who watch this show and who listen. And that is, when Republicans are in power, they are targeting black people. I have said that this administration seeks to defund black America. They are attacking every aspect of black America. Education, economics, politics, civil rights, social justice. And so on the state level, where Republicans have power, these things are happening. We are seeing it in Georgia. We're seeing it in Florida. We're seeing it in Texas. In this case, it was defeated, but in so many other examples, they actually are passing laws that specifically target where black folks have been exercising their political power.
Well, one quick update is that it was passed today in the House. So we sit in the Senate, but this is a bill that is passed in the House. And as you said, it is very specifically targeting 5 counties that all have in common black DAs, black elected DAs who happen to be Democrats. And so this bill is very specifically targeted. If it were good government and good governance, then it would be applied all throughout the state, but it's not. This is a very narrowly tailored piece of legislation that impacts our 5 of the largest counties in the state that represent about 40% of the population of the state and have black women already in power. And you know as well as I do that, you know, when you have party labels next to your name on a ballot, it can help people just better understand perhaps your values or give them some clues and cues, especially for low information voters who may go in and not know every single name on their ballot for every race.
I think back to Texas. Texas used to have straight ticket voting. So you could go into the booth and you can just simply vote all Democrat, all Republican. Well, Dallas County used to be red. Harris County used to be red. And all of a sudden, Democrats started figuring out how to actually campaign. Well, guess what? They took over Harris County, took over Dallas County, Travis County, Bexar County. Tarrant County was the only large county that was red. In the legislature, they said, okay, we're going to get rid of straight ticket voting. They said, we want people to be thinking about the choices in each race. That had nothing to do with it. It was about 1 year, 18 black women won judicial races. They could not stand losing. And so this is what they do. In this case here, again, what was the rationale given to specifically target these 5 counties and not the rest of the state?
Yeah, I mean, so they just made it up, to be clear. I mean, I think that's really important. So, you know, when you reported at the top of the hour, you said it was defeated. Well, they did lose it first. And they said, you know what, we're going to take another bite at the apple. And so they took a really good bill sponsored by a black woman in the House, stripped it out, and put some more racist things back on it, put it back on the floor again, and then it passed. It's now passed both chambers, so it's headed to the governor's desk, all around this notion that because these are the 5 large counties in Georgia, they need to have a special treatment and be nonpartisan. But really, I'm quite sure that if they could have just targeted at one DA, they would have done it. This is really about punishment for Fani Willis. Fani Willis, who dared to go after Trump. And so, had to give a little cover by going against the 5. But really, I think fundamentally, this is all about Fani Willis.
So, okay, so it cleared the House 93 to 64. So what was changed? So you had an initial defeat in the Senate and then it gets passed. So what actually changed?
What changed was the bill number that it was written on. Very little to nothing else. I mean, they tried to make it slightly more constitutional by making it not go into effect until 2028, but very little actually changed in terms of substance. What changed was the bill number so that they could bring it to the floor again.
Okay, so explain for the audience then, if Republicans voted against it in the Senate the first time, what happened the second time?
So the Republicans voted against it in the Senate. And so what happens is that you take a bill that has made it you take a bill that already exists and you strip all the language out of that bill, and then you put this bill language into that other bill. So like you just heard, Black women had a great bill. It was on food trucks. They totally strip all the language out of that bill and they turn it into this bill that failed before, and it gives them another chance to pass the bill and do what it is that they've intended to do. And it bought them time to get more agreement amongst themselves to make this happen and have it get all the way through the process.
So it doesn't go into effect until 2028. So what's next? I would assume Brian Kemp is going to sign it?
I think that's a fair assumption. He could surprise us, but I think that's a very fair assumption. I think what we also know is that DAs will immediately, those 5 women DAs will immediately seek an injunction. And this will go and cost Georgians millions and millions of dollars as they litigate it. Because DAs are constitutional officers for Georgia, the irony here is that the state is going to have to represent the DAs and the state will have to represent the state's position. So we are talking about literally millions and millions of dollars spent in litigation of the state fighting the state, simply because Republicans wanted to target 5 Black women DAs. And we said multiple times, isn't it true that what's good for the goose is good for the gander? Why are we not doing this for all 51 DAs across the state? And they could not give a good answer because the only actual answer is because we want to target these 5 Black women.
So is it just the DA races or is it other local races as well?
The Solicitor Generals, it's a lot of the races that fall into public safety generally and broadly, except, and this is very important, sheriffs. Sheriffs, they have left as partisan races, but there are, county clerks, Solicitor Generals.
So wait. I'm sorry. So county DAs, they changed. County clerks, they changed, but not county sheriffs.
Correct.
County sheriffs are explicitly written out of it. And part of it, I would argue, they made sure that sheriffs were left out because the sheriffs, they think, are doing a good job of locking up lots of Black people. So they're not trying to get rid of them.
Wow. That is absolutely crazy. Again, but this is the point that I keep telling folk that they have to understand. This is what happens when you don't exercise your voting power. When we stay at home, when we don't maximize, and when I say maximize, I keep saying we need Black folks voting at 70% of our capacity. You've got state, and we talk about gerrymandering. Okay, you know what? State offices are not gerrymandered, and so there's an opportunity for Black folks to truly exercise their power in Georgia to win state offices. And that's how you also begin to stop a lot of this nonsense. So whether you're talking about Attorney General, Secretary of State, Lieutenant Governor, Governor's Mansion, this is what folks need to be focusing on because those state races also impact state Supreme Court. And so it's connecting of the dots, and this is how Republicans play the political games.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. Voting is going to be crucial. The reality is if we had if we had a Democratic lieutenant governor who was presiding over our options, they wouldn't have been able to bring this bill back a second time for a second bite of the apple. If we had a Democratic governor, he or she would be able to veto this kind of madness. So it gives a lot more power. The other piece of this is that part of the way that power works has also a lot to do with the budget. And so if you have someone with money in the budget for their district and they're afraid they're going to lose that, they use that as a little dangling piece to make people change their votes when they give them a second bite of the apple. There's a whole lot of different sticks that the Republican parties use against their own members to get them in line in order to pass these things. So it's absolutely essential that we flip these seats, particularly these statewide seats, in order to make sure that we can take away some of those sticks and give ourselves an opportunity to have a line item veto, to be able to veto these things at the very end, and also stop some things from coming to the floor in the first place.
When is your primary?
May 19th.
All right. May 19th, early voting starts April 27th, correct?
That's
correct.
All right. All right. We certainly appreciate it. State Senators Sonia Halpern and Kim Jackson. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having us.
Last night, I was in North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, for the Southern Regional Convention of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I moderated a panel where we talked about how do we exercise our political power. Bishop William Barber, who was really there just to attend the session, the brothers gave him an opportunity to speak, and he talked about what our focus must be, specifically Alpha, but also broadly what we must be doing when it comes to exercising our power and not allowing these things to move forward. Watch this.
Bishop, listen, I came tonight really to be just with the brother. That's all. I didn't really come to say anything because I think we know where we are. And it's time right now where we need workhorses, not show horses. We need some folks that understand we can't be playing checkers while they're playing chess. There is a third deconstruction going on, and we must decide that we will have a third reconstruction. I've been battling a disease for 47 years. And I remember the day that the doctors told me it was over, and I had to make up my mind, would I believe them or would I believe God and my own commitment? In this moment, this nation is sick, but we've got to decide whether we're going to believe them or whether we're going to believe God, whether we're going to believe our ancestors, whether we're going to believe the power in our own hearts that tell us bowing down is never an option. To authoritarianism, to neo-fascism, to anything that is contrary to our humanity. Now, Roland Martin and I are here tonight, and last at the National, we made an ask I did on his behalf of Alpha, and that is, we need Alpha to give us 1,000 brothers. He and I, you'll find out, we're not going doing a lot of speeches now and rousing people up without a plan. We need 1,000 brothers that we can train in how to do massive voter get out strategically, not just lip service. We're gonna register everybody. Whenever somebody tell you they're gonna register everybody, they lying. They don't plan to do nothing with that because it doesn't make sense. First of all, you don't even need everybody. We live in the region of the country that is going to determine whether this country ends up. It always has come out of the South. You break the back of the South, you change the nation. And quickly, right now, we are in a place where if just 20% of black folk that have not voted or registered in the southern states from North Carolina to Texas, if just 20% would vote strategically, it shifts everything. They don't want us to know that, but that's the reality. And in most of the southern states, it's less than 12%. And if you connect that to progressive whites, poor and low-wage whites, which all of them are not voting against their own self-interest, and others, it goes down to like 5%. So the question is, are we going to do the work? We got all the tools. We got Black Star Network. We got where my friend with Democracy Day is, our brother who's leading in this state. We have the technology. We have the manpower and the woman power if we implement it. And I'm gonna close you with this. And it might make you say, damn. I hope it does. I hope it makes you say, damn, we're gonna do this. You're sitting in North Carolina right now. There's a scripture in the Bible, in the Psalms, that says, Ephraim had everything he needed to win, but chose in the day of battle not to fight. This is nonpartisan. This is just history. Donald Trump.
Come on, Doc. Come on, Doc.
In the 1st Congressional District of North Carolina, which is the black congressional district, the 1st and the 12th, right, Brother Ward? Donald Trump won in that district. Now, he won by 11,000 votes, but 85,000 people didn't vote. He won the state of North Carolina by 180,000 votes, 1,850 votes per county, but over 500,000 black folk didn't vote. I heard you, somebody said, damn. Right. That's right. So in essence, we have folk winning not because they're smarter than us, not because they're better than us, not because they have a better plan or agenda than us, but because they are on the field fighting. Our job, Alpha, if it has ever been our job, is to get our folk on the battlefield. We have everything we need. Give us 1,000 Alphas and we'll turn this country upside down. Give us 200 Alphas in North Carolina that will do the work and take off the suit coats and put on the overalls and go down to the 1st Congressional District and we'll turn this state upside down. We'll turn it right side up. Give us some brothers that don't just wear the black and gold, but understand that Alpha Phi Alpha must sometimes mean APA. Always press the agenda. No matter what they're doing, always press the agenda. When they're fighting our voting rights, always press the agenda. When they're trying to take our health care, always press the agenda. When they're going against fighting wars that we don't need to fight, always press the agenda. And what's the agenda? Justice. What's the agenda? Health care. What's the agenda? Living wage. What's the agenda? Voting right. What's the agenda? The right time to do all right is always right now. Give us 1,000 brothers and we can set America on fire like it's never been on fire before. We can get folk out that haven't thought about voting. And if we turn our people out, we turn this nation around.
So let me also expand this. Vivek Ramaswamy, who is running for governor of Ohio, he announced in a piece that was in the Columbia Dispatch that Ohio must reform their public universities. Well, guess what he is proposing? He is proposing that Ohio shut down the University of Akron, Kent State University, and Central State University. Central State University is the only public HBCU in Ohio. So again, the person who is going to win the governor's race is going to be driving this particular agenda. I need our folk to understand that this is us playing offense and defense. What we are literally dealing with are Republicans who are attacking everything in Black America. You don't believe me? How about the Florida Attorney General, who announced that he wants to go after the NFL because of the Rooney Rule, calling it discrimination. Y'all, the Rooney Rule only deals with hiring. I'm going to talk about that later. But again, I just need our folk to understand what is at play here. The stakes are incredibly high. And this is not a moment for a lot of to be asleep at the wheel. Bringing my panel right now. Mike Manning, civil rights attorney, Corpus Christi, Texas, joins us. Cody Danielle, independent journalist out of Birmingham. Michael Imhotep, host African History Network show out of Detroit. Danielle, when I look at this Louisiana versus Cali decision, it's a Louisiana case, but that could very well end the congressional seats of Congressman Shamari Figures, as well as Congresswoman Terry Sewell. It will give these folks the leeway to create new districts and not have to factor race into it at all. That's going to impact county races, judicial races, state reps, state senators, judges, on and on and on. And then we begin to look at so many other things here. We are under a wholesale attack in Black America. And I just keep thinking about that scene from Scandal, where the Joe Morton character tells the Kerry Washington character that you're running around and hopping in a field where bombs are going off and you're mistaking them for daisies.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the case with Shamari Figures and Terry Sewell. And just to give the people some context, Shamari Figures just won that district in the last couple of years. So the state Supreme Court ruled that the congressional map here in the state was unconstitutional because the state is, I think, about 27% Black, but they only had one district that was that represented the state population, which was Terry Sewell's congressional district at the time. So now there are two districts in the state of Alabama that represent the population of about 27%. And so right now, what I'm fighting and what I'm telling people on my own platforms is that, hey, Tommy Tuberville, who I'm sure you've heard of, Roland Martin, I'm sure he's trying to attack everything that is not white. He recently has who has attacked the Islamic Academy that's here in the Birmingham metro area and has claimed that they are terrorists and they're trying to indoctrinate people with evil things. I mean, I don't even know how to summarize what all he has claimed that they're doing because we know that it's false. And so, I've agreed with you a million times before. Like, this is the time that we need to educate and inform people about the policies that are in place and that are potentially going to not just threaten our survival, but possibly even our existence as a people. We are not exempt from ICE potentially coming and knocking on our front door and saying, hey, we saw your social media post, we're deporting you. Like, that is not far-fetched at this point. And not to get off subject here, Roland, but I'm sure that with even the normalization of ICE being present in our airports, now that is something that is intentionally being done. They're trying to make it seem that us being overseen by another authority system is going to become our everyday life.
Again, I keep saying, Matt, connect the dots, connect the dots, connect the dots. And I want people to understand what's going on here. That we have to look at this as one wholesale attack, but just different tentacles that are operating at the same time.
Absolutely. I mean, that's exactly what it is. And it's something we've talked about on this show ad nauseum because it comes up every time, and we have to continue discussing it. I mean, we're watching Republicans attack library boards. Like, literally where I live, they have attacked the library board. It's about attacking every system. It's about delegitimizing every system and then trying to stack that system with your people to make it where you want it to be, what you want it to be. And what I thought was particularly interesting about this Georgia situation is that they couldn't enshroud the racism. They couldn't really separate the racism from the policy, because if you look at the policy on its face, it's actually something that wouldn't be bad. Nonpartisan election of prosecutors, right? Nonpartisan affiliation for prosecutors, and then you have other things that would apply to people across the board. That's actually something I've thought our judges here in Texas should have for a long time. However, when you're only targeting 5 DAs in the state, all of whom are black women, then you can't hide that what it's really about is trying to delegitimize and take the power away from those black women. And it's kind of one of those, for thee but not for me type situations, because if you really cared about the genesis of the policy, you would do that across the board. But I remember at the top of the segment, you mentioned that some prominent Republicans voted against it, and the reason they probably voted against it is because they didn't want a cascade to slide where their people got their power taken away from them. But I think you're right. I think that's what we're seeing, and I think one of the ways that Democrats have really failed is by not seeing that this is a systemic attack on every system at the most granular level, the library board in Corpus Christi, all the way up to 1600 Pennsylvania. If you don't see those things as connected, then you're fighting a lot of disparate fights rather than one fight, which is to try to seize all the power and leverage it for yourself and for your compatriots.
Michael, see, this is why I took offense in 2025 when people kept saying, oh, we're resting. We're resting. And I'm like, yo, this is not a time to be off the battlefield. These people are actively engaging in defunding and targeting all of Black America.
Yeah, Roland, they're implementing Project 2025 like we told them. So you saying you're resting, you have no idea what's taking place right now. They are implementing measures to wipe our Black behinds off of the political chessboard. They've already wiped out 60 years of civil rights progress, wiping out Executive Order 11246, affirmative action. Trump did that his second day in office. That's something Ronald Reagan didn't even do. That's something the Heritage Foundation has been wanting to do for decades. They wiped out the Executive Order 13985 from President Joe Biden dealing with diversity, equity, and inclusion, all of this. So, and then when you look at what just happened with Breonna Taylor and the Department of Justice wanting to, if I remember correctly, drop some charges, federal charges against 2 officers involved in that case as well. So this is what's taking place. There's no time to rest, time to regroup, but no time to rest. Now, I didn't watch Scandal, Roland. I know you gave a reference, a pop cultural reference to Scandal. I didn't watch Scandal, but what I would say is people confuse being a frog in a boiling pot of water with being in a sauna or a jacuzzi at the health club, right? And don't know the difference. They don't understand that they're being cooked alive. So I like that clip that you played, Reverend William Barber, and talking about get out the vote. I would rephrase it as educating people on political empowerment, understanding the tools of politics, putting it in their hands so they can acquire power to impact politics in their communities that gives them the policies that they need, the benefits that they need, because politics impacts every aspect of our lives.
Folks, it's real. And we saw it on display today at the White House. Donald Trump had 800 farmers at the White House. And it was an insane speech he gave. We're gonna have John Boyd at the top of the hour. But folks, I'm telling y'all, I hope y'all see what the thread is in today's show. I'm showing you Georgia, Ohio, Florida, Texas, White House, Secretary of Defense in the Pentagon, how Black people are absolutely under attack in this country. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
A decade of love, joy, and power. Black Voters Matter is 10 years old, and we are just getting started. This is love with a purpose. This is Black joy in motion. This is unstoppable power. Across campuses, neighborhoods, and back roads. Let's go! We show up, not just to vote, but to be seen, to be heard, to belong. We ride together, we organize together. We remind each other that our voices matter, because they always have. Black Voters Matter is about more than ballots. It's about housing and healthcare, clean water and living wages, education, reproductive freedom, and dignity. It's about turning pain into action, turning belief into movement, turning community into power. We don't wait to be invited. We bring the energy. We bring the love. We bring the people. Because when Black communities come together, we don't just survive, we thrive. This is how change happens. This is how history moves. We organize, we build, we win.
Hey, I'm T.D. Jakes, and you are watching the Black Star Network.
I thought Republicans loved them some Jesus. Well, Tennessee State Representative Justin Pearson, he invited Reverend Dr. Michael Eric Dyson to pray before the Thursday House session began in Tennessee. Now, this is a common thing where different people of faith are there to pray. Dyson is a Christian, and so he chose to speak the word of God and to pray for all of the legislators. But not all of them were happy with his prayer. Watch.
We come to you for comfort and blessing. Our world is on fire with bigotry and bombs. Despots rule populations with ruthless authoritarianism. We are in the midst of an extraordinary battle for the soul of America. We are in the shadow of the 3rd anniversary of the Covenant school shooting, and yet we still worship guns. In our country, we claim to love freedom, but we resent those who seek to practice it beyond mere creeds. We say we love the Constitution, but we undermine it at every turn. We say we love the Declaration of Independence, yet we fight against equality for all citizens. We deny meaningful life to those who we dislike through unjust laws. We deny liberty for those we despise through a deluge of unconstitutional rules. And we deny happiness to those we abhor through the arbitrary exercise of brute power. Although you encourage us through sacred words to remember the past, too many of us seek to erase history through lies.
Come on.
We seek to ban books that tell the truth about our country's long, bitter, and still unrealized pilgrimage to freedom. Too many of us support the First Amendment when it favors our slanted side and our distorted views. Slavery was central to the definition of the United States of America. Slavery was crucial to our arguments about who we understand ourselves to be and who gets to say so, and how that knowledge should shape our society and politics. Dear God, spare us from the hypocrisy of a breed of white evangelical piety that emphasize the adjectives white more than the noun evangelical. The hatred of blackness circulates in the lungs of the beast of white Christian nationalism, and we can feel the fire flaming from the nostrils of the dragon of black animosity. Too many of our white evangelical brothers and sisters toss in with a petty, prevaricating pariah who is a callus on the heel of American government and a wound on the body of American democracy. Dear God, we are victims of a tyrant whose malignant narcissism seduces too many citizens to mimic his deadly deceitfulness and emulate his corrupt character. His mouth is full of lies, baffling, corrosive, and tendentious lies, lies that mock any shred of honesty left in our politics, lies that are made up on the spot to justify wacky and wicked actions that lack a hint of intellectual depth or moral decency. Dear God, he and his compatriots attack DEI, and yet they lack the presence of mind to acknowledge that their mendacity is driven by mediocrity. Yes. It is a mediocrity so pervasive and paralyzing that it is laughable that they dare attack women and queers and black folks and indigenous people and brown folks and, yes, immigrants. Their ICE initiatives, whether on the streets of our cities or at airports, are the frozen edges of a bombastic militarism that undermines the law and disrespects the lives of ordinary citizens. Dear God, permit us in this hour of chaos and strife to find our way back to you, the God of the vulnerable, the God of the lost, the God of the oppressed. May we find ways to oppose hate and embrace love, oppose violence and embrace peace, oppose terror and embrace security. Teach us to love and uplift one another, and in so doing, uplift the precious principles and life lessons that you have taught us for centuries. Amen.
Amen.
Well, and at that point, they did the Pledge of Allegiance. Joining us right now is Reverend Dr. Michael Eric Dyson and Tennessee State Representative Justin Pearson. Representative Pearson, I'll start with you. Explain to people how the rules work where you're allowed to invite your own person to pray.
Absolutely. So it's one of the privileges of being a member of the House of Representatives, where you have a chaplain of the day. And I was fortunate months ago to be able to have Reverend Dr. Michael Eric Dyson to be our chaplain of the day. But we do this. Every elected official has the opportunity to have their imam or to have someone of their faith tradition to speak. And we were fortunate to have him speaking in the Black prophetic tradition that we know breaks shackles and puts white supremacy to shame.
Michael, obviously you knew that was going to ruffle the feathers of some of those white evangelicals who love to claim that Jesus is the center of their joy, but they use that same Bible the same way the slaveholders did. They actually advance a slaveholder religion.
Absolutely. And as Representative, soon-to-be Congressman Pearson has indicated, we come from a tradition. Roland, you're part of that. Representative Pearson is part of that, of a prophetic Black Christian tradition that cries out against the misery, the heartbreak, and the oppression that we see around us. And so I didn't go there in viciousness or nastiness or, any other kind of spirit, except to do what the Bible calls us to do, is to call out wickedness in high places, is to expose the immorality that often passes for common decency. And white Christian nationalism has been a bane to our existence because it's the joining of Christian ideology on the one hand, or Christian theology, with a white supremacist ideology on the other. And we've got to oppose that and resist that. And when Representative Pearson invited me into Tennessee's House of Representatives, I knew I wanted to at least focus on that. Because after all, a bill was recently suggested, thank God defeated in that August body, to give the death penalty to women who had abortions. This is the kind of extremist ideology that has choked the lifeblood of Christian thought in those quarters, and I wanted to express a different worldview.
And Representative Pearson, the reality is, you've got some of your Black colleagues who would rather play footsie with the devil in that chamber. They have not been particularly, some of them, happy with you, Representative Justin Jones. They think y'all loudmouth. They think y'all make too much hay out of things. But it's also important that if you're going to have a prayer, that leader should speak prophetically. Anybody, even these white evangelicals, well, it all depends on what Bible they use. When you talk about the prophets said things to David, to Saul, to others they did not want to hear. That's the whole point of a prophetic tradition. You are to say things that are going to make folk uncomfortable.
But people want to adopt a religious view, particularly for people who practice Christianity, that sanitizes Jesus, right? That sanitizes the gospel to the point where Jesus, in essence, is just a good guy who something bad happened to. But he isn't a radical revolutionary who advocated for the poor, the marginalized, the disinherited, the disenfranchised, who elevated the status of women to equality. You know, they try and transform Jesus into being a tool of oppression rather than a tool of liberation. And so when we speak through the Black prophetic tradition that says in the James Conian way, right, God is on the side of the oppressed, God fights and is on the side of those who are marginalized, people who perpetuate the policies, the practices, the ideologies that continue that oppression oftentimes feel like they are being targeted. But in effect, we are just following Christianity. We're following Christ's way. It was an empire. It was the government that lynched Jesus. And they lynched him not because he was talking about love, not because he was talking about healing people and providing health care to everybody in housing, but because he was saying the systems that have created the inequality and inopportunity for the marginalized, those must be broken down. Those shackles must be destroyed. And in this moment and in this time, that is our responsibility, particularly as Black people who have made it for 400 years in this country, because of people who understand our work in our legislatures, our work in media, only for the liberating of people who are oppressed. That's our, and if you are uncomfortable with that, if you don't like that, if you think it's too loud, if you think it's too anything, it's you are not following. If you are not following the Christian way. It's people who like to talk about God and like to talk about the Bible, but they don't talk about Christianity. They don't ever want to talk about Jesus Christ and what he went through that ultimately led to his ultimate sacrifice action. That's what was on display for me. It was the recognition that God is with us. God is in the struggle with us, and God is not pleased with the white supremacist domestic terrorist who's president of the United States and who professed Christianity to then continue to perpetuate the pain, the traumatization, and the harms that we're seeing happening all across our country, from Memphis with the occupation to other places in our country where we're seeing more deportations and harm happening.
Anthony, go to my iPad. The Tennessee Holler, when they posted your video, they come on. Got it. So they had this clip here, Michael, of these Republicans. Ooh, they were really upset. Walking out. Michael, I thought the Christian folk were raised, you don't move. You don't walk out in the middle of a prayer. I mean, my goodness. What Bible study did they go to?
Right. Hey, and they didn't even put up the one finger to indicate that they were tipping out. You know, it's bad Christian protocol. Here's the point. White people have always had the privilege to leave what they don't like, to not listen to what they don't want to hear. Black people and other minoritized populations have had to stay in the room because we fought to get in there. It may be uncomfortable, things being said that are antithetical to our well-being, but we remain there because we're going to stay rooted to fight against what we don't believe and to oppose those things that we think are offensive. But at the end of the day, you know, those who claim to be white evangelicals and those who are part of a white Christian nationalism, really, as I tried to say in my prayer, are more white than evangelical. They're more adjective than noun. And that adjective modifies everything. The real religion in America for many of these people is whiteness itself. We know that we have more in common with people who read the Tanakh, the Tao Te Ching, the Bhagavad Gita, the Holy Quran. Those people who believe in love and transformation and who believe that resisting oppression is the basic imperative of a moral worldview rooted in a belief in God. So you don't have to be my same, quote, religion. Martin Luther King Jr., in his letter from a Birmingham jail said, I go out into the southern terrain sometimes and look at their churches and wonder who is their God. And I don't have an obligation to believe in that God. I am an atheist to the God of white nationalism. I am an atheist to the God of these white evangelicals who wield power in the name of a white supremacist ethic that they refuse to make explicit, except they try to cover it with biblical imperatives and theological nostrums that really have nothing to do with the fundamental principle of claiming justice for those whose backs are against the wall. And Proverbs says that a rich man has a bunch of friends, but poor people have very few. And I think it is our intent to represent those people who have been marginalized, underrepresented. And so we have been taught to be kind to people. We would not step out on a prayer, even if we were offended by it from the bottom level of our hearts. But these white folk seem to believe that they can turn their backs on a gospel that they think is representing wrongly the Spirit of Christ. Well, stay, make an argument, talk about your belief in God, as opposed to rejecting outright the ability of people to have religious pluralism. And in this case, what I mean by that, a different vision of Jesus than you're bringing together. And black folk have an obligation, prophetic black folk have an obligation to raise up the bloodstained banner of that truth, no matter what it's cost.
Senator Pearson, this was so interesting because just a few days earlier, your colleague, Representative Justin Jones, posted a video of essentially a worship service taking place on the floor of the Tennessee House. Roll it.
So what in the world was going on during our legislative session?
Representative Pearson, boy, they wasn't walking out on that one.
No, because as long as they have a Jesus that they can control, that they can manipulate enough to be able to bludgeon, to be able to take away access to health care, to hurt women's reproductive rights, to attack queer people, to separate black folk and white, as long as their religion is big enough for them to be able to hold it and mold it for oppression, they'll pray to that God. They'll worship that Jesus. But once you remind them that Jesus is brown skinned, that he was the son of a teenage mother, that he did not come in and on a white horse and living in a castle, but rather was a poor person who came from the bottom in order to save and have salvation for everybody. Once you start telling the true gospel, they start to lose their religion. Because as Dr. Dyson was saying, the religion is not actually what's in the book. It is white supremacy, and their religion is only oppression. And so any challenge to that, any question to that is what you see them walking out on. They can't stand it. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to listen to it. And you ask them, and I have, what did Jesus say about that? Because Jesus gives us 2 commandments. Right? When asked, what are the 2 things you got to do? You got to love God with all your heart, and you have to love your neighbor as yourself. And who is your neighbor? I'm convinced that the neighbor in this moment in time is the immigrant. Right? The neighbor is the black woman who needs more resources. The neighbor is the person who's being priced out of their community because multi-billion-dollar corporations are buying their neighborhoods. I believe our neighbor is the person who can't afford access to health care because pharmaceutical companies keep making billions and billions of dollars in profits while we suffer and struggle. And you say that, and they're like, no, that's not in the book that I read, because that's not the book they are reading. That's correct. They're reading Project 2025. That they're reading a different book. It has nothing to do with Jesus Christ. It has nothing to do with Mary Magdalene. It has nothing to do with healing the sick and giving sight to the blind. Their philosophy and theology only surrounds how do you get more white, mediocre men more power. And if you can do that, then they'll worship it. Then they'll pray to it. Then they'll praise it. And this new apostolic reformation that P. Hegseth and all these other folks are a part of is dangerous. Because what we are seeing is our democratic institutions, lowercase d, being used as a tool for a theocracy that is rooted in white supremacy to be implemented in our country. And so when P. Hegseth is the Secretary of Defense, they call him Secretary of War now, right? When he is in these positions of power and they're taking this ideology into the places they serve, we see the Joint Chief of Staff, a black man, getting fired. Right? We see a lot of the services like USAID, which made sure that HIV was going down and made sure that poor communities, particularly in black places on the continent of Africa, got resources. Those get destroyed by Elon Musk and Doge. That's not accidental. right? Like they are literally antithetical to the calling of Christ, which is to lift up the marginalized, the lonely, and the lowly. It is what he says, right? What have you done for the least of these? But instead, they are eradicating all of the programs, all of the resources that would, in fact, help the least of these in our world and in our country. But if you need billions of dollars to go to war, right, on behalf of Israel against Iran, they are happy to do that. But they can't give you Obamacare subsidies to ensure that you have access to health care, right? Like the dichotomy and the hypocrisy is really apparent in what we're seeing.
And again, as we heard what Michael said, and juxtapose that with what Franklin Graham. Oh, and by the way, let me be real clear. Billy Graham was a pastor. Franklin Graham is not a pastor. Let me just be real clear, okay? He is not ordained. He ain't been to seminary. So he acts like he has assumed the mantle of his dad. He only has that mantle because he's a man, because of what's between his legs. The real pastor who followed in the footsteps of Billy Graham is his sister, Ann Graham Lutz, but she's a woman, and she couldn't get the family jewels. But this is what this so-called evangelical Franklin Graham had to say at CPAC. Listen to this.
And I love Donald Trump. Is he perfect? No. But I love that guy. I love him. And we'll only have one chance at this. We'll never get another president like Donald Trump. Never. And that's why it's important that we do everything that we can to try to get him reelected.
Y'all hear that? This fool was talking about getting reelected. Michael, this is who these people are. He knows it's not constitutional, but this is what happens when you have a white evangelical who will sell his soul to Donald Trump, knowing he is a liar, he is an insurrectionist, he is a thug in chief.
I mean, absolutely right. And they had a problem with Obama because he had a tan suit and tan skin.
Well, first of all, Franklin Graham often questioned the Christianity of Obama.
Oh, absolutely right. As did the present president of the United States of America, who reads the Bible upside down and calls it 2 Corinthians. But this is your king and this is your leader. This, again, is, as Representative Pearson so brilliantly articulated, this is what happens when real religion is displaced by ideological affirmation, by white identification with the other. When Pete Hegseth today, part of that apostolic reform tradition, his pastor and another Christian minister prayed for the death of James Tallarico, prayed that he would be killed. And then they tried to, in a way, revive it by saying it was a metaphor, to die in Christ and to be raised again. And so, no, bro, you knew what that was going to signify. You knew how that was going to amplify. You knew how that was going to echo across the waves of white supremacist ears that heard a dog whistle for this man to be snuffed out. This is the justification that they offer. And then we know Pete Hegseth today removed from the list of those to be promoted in the military, in the Army, 2 black people and 2 women who were going to become 1-star generals. And it is no, if you will, accident that the 4 people removed happen to be women or black people. Why? Because the white supremacist agenda is right before our eyes. And the Christian right is justifying and legitimating the insurrectionist appeal, a theology of apostasy against the very depth of our commitment to the true God, which says we must sacrifice and redeem the nation through that sacrifice. I hear nothing about redemption from these people. I hear hatred, I hear bitterness, I hear bile, and this is for a fascist, a dim-witted dictator, a dummy demagogue who refuses to acknowledge the centrality of intelligence or science. And those, it is not just him, it's those who surround him. this featherbrain, this ninny hammer, this person who has no basic intelligence, who is except a genius of manipulating the media, that we must acknowledge. But those around who know better should never again tell us about the Constitution that they will always offend, the Declaration of Independence that they will never read, the Bill of Rights that they reject constantly, or the magnificent credo of this nation, e pluribus unum, out of many one. That is diversity, equity, and inclusion in one simple phrase that they consistently deny. Why? Because it undermines the legitimacy, the worth, the value in their eyes of what whiteness is. The real religion in this country is whiteness. The real politics in this country is whiteness. And the real goal of those white evangelicals in cahoots with these ideological extremists who are really identitarians in the worst sense of that term, is about whiteness in this country. And anything that challenges that will never be accepted.
Indeed, indeed. Michael Dyson, Representative Pearson, I certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
I appreciate you.
Folks, going to a break. We come back. Black farmers, were they in attendance at the White House today when Trump talked to 800 farmers? Nope. We'll talk to John Boyd next on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club if you want to contribute to continue to make this show center on our folks. This show, but also the 5 other shows on the Black Star Network. Your support is absolutely critical. Our goal is simple: to get 20,000 people contributing on average $50 each a year. That's $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. That raises $1 million. That offsets the expenses that we have, which come out to be about $195,000 per month. If you want to support us via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. That's also for credit cards. Checks and money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003 7-0196. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo's RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
With medicine and science under attack, I want to keep you and your family informed and healthy. I'm Dr. Ebony Hilton, and I knew at the age of 8 that I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied hard and became the first African-American female anesthesiologist hired at the Medical University of South Carolina since its opening in 1824. And I always say I was made into a doctor, but I was born to be a mom. And as a new mom, wife, sister, daughter, and friend, I understand how frightening a medical crisis can be. I care for individuals on some of the worst days of their lives, and it's my mission to provide you with a safe space to gain clarity on issues affecting your mind, body, and soul. I recognize that there are health disparities, particularly as it pertains to race, and I want to help bridge the gap between you and your healthcare providers. Join me every Thursday for Second Opinion on the Black Star Network, where each week I'll invite experts from various medical fields to share the latest health news. We'll discuss topics such as the vaccine debate, mental and sexual health, medical bias, infertility, menopause, andropause, nutrition, and aging. Together with my medical colleagues, we aim to provide you with a second opinion. Don't miss it, Thursdays only on the Black Star Network.
Hey y'all, welcome to The Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network and hosted by myself, Bria Baker, and my good sis, Jamira Burley. We are just 2 millennial women tackling everything at the intersection of politics, gender, and pop culture.
And we don't just settle for commentary. This is about solution-driven dialogue to get us to the world as it could be and not just as it is.
Watch us on the Black Star Network, so tune in to The Other Side of Change.
My name is Bill Duke, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Well, the twice impeached, criminally convicted commander-in-chief, Donald Trump, met today at the White House and spoke to 800 farmers. He attempted to reassure them, claiming that everything is fine and that they should be thankful for taxpayer handouts designed to mitigate the impact of his tariff policies. You know, the same thing that happened the last time when taxpayers, money with $25 billion went to farmers because of his tariffs and his screw-ups. Well, speaking from the White House Truman balcony, he addressed what he called the single largest gathering of American farmers the White House has ever seen. He promoted new policies he argued would save farmers money and help them stay in business despite rising input costs caused by his own actions.
Field. I'm giving you a field that goes like this. Makes it a lot easier for you, the things that we've done. And to further help farmers recovering from the Biden catastrophe, we use money taken from tariffs. The tariffs, we've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars from the tariffs. And as I said, we gave you $12 billion in farm relief. And that happened just recently because you were hurt by certain countries unfairly. And I said you were unfairly hurt, and we gave you $12 billion, and that made up for it. I'm also asking Congress to quickly pass the new farm bill, and today I'm promising to request additional farm relief for our great patriots in the next funding bill. So we have you taken care of in both instances, and we're pushing very hard for the new farm bill.
Okay, he also said this idiotic thing. Anthony, go to my iPad.
That the White House has ever seen, has ever had. And rain or shine, and you don't mind rain, shine. The one thing about farmers, they don't care about that weather. They get out there, it makes no difference. But rain or shine, no one has more grit or greater spirit than the American farmer. We love the American farmer. I just gave you $12 billion. I don't know if you know that or not. You make enough money, it doesn't matter to you, right? But we just provided $12 billion, right, Brooke, for the American farmer. You think Biden would have done that? No, he wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, because Biden would have destroyed them with these stupid tariffs. John Boyd is the president, National Black Farmers Association. Glad to have you on the show, John. Were you invited to this gathering?
Absolutely not. You know, I wasn't invited, but I certainly invited myself, Roland. So I sent the emails as soon as I heard that they were having this gathering. I sent the emails to the White House, and of course, they didn't invite me. Roland, this man had the audacity to put a gold tractor out on the White House lawn when we got 190 black farmers losing their farms out here, 190. And then he said, you know what? Go to the SBA and borrow some money. While we got 190 black farmers facing farm foreclosures due to this president's tariffs, due to this president's war where we're spending $1 billion a day. And not only that, he was touting how much money he made from the tariffs while we paid for the tariffs. The farmers were the one that paid for the tariffs.
Right.
He paid for the parts that came in, and we lost the money due to lost income, all by this president's policies. So I sat there and watched that, and he said, he had 800 farmers out on the White House lawn, but didn't invite any black farmers. Like, we don't contribute to America's agriculture fabric. You know, what an insult to our people here. And this is something that these white farmers keep supporting. This man is laughing in their face, and a lot of those farmers out there in that audience, Roland, I can almost promise you that they're facing foreclosure too. So this is a farm crisis, and he's up there talking about the golden jubilee and got a gold tractor, and it sounded like he kept saying 2 or 3 times, go out and buy a new tractor, Roland. While we got black farmers who can't meet their financial obligations, they're behind on their mortgages and farm operating loans and farm equipment loans. And this president is out there saying, oh yeah, go out and buy some new tractors. How offensive to these farmers, man. I had to go. And guess what? On top of that, we got diesel fuel, right here in my hometown, man. $6 a gallon while he's touting how good a shape America's farmers in. They got money, they don't need money and all this stuff. Fertilizer is up 40%. 40%. For people to understand that, $140 a ton to $200 a ton for the real good fertilizer, all due to this president's war. So we're not in bad shape because of something that we did. We're in bad shape because of this president's policies, and he's still talking about Biden did it. Biden didn't impose tariffs. This is his baby. This is his thing that he put into place, and now he wants the American taxpayer to bail him out, you know?
I had to go over there and grab my hat since you got your black hat on. I mean, here's what.
Hey, Roland, it's Friday, man.
Here's what is just insane to me. This fool says, I'm giving you the money from the tariffs, but the tariffs are the reason why the farmers have been losing money. And the tariffs were paid by American companies, not by anybody else. And these idiots are sitting there going, oh my God, we're gonna applaud that. Not only that, you mentioned this here, y'all roll a video of this golden tractor.
Yes.
Like, I don't understand how in the world you could not be insulted by this idiot displaying a gold tractor. These people are filing for bankruptcy. You have suicides, all this sort of stuff, and they're sitting there clapping for this idiot.
Hey, Roland, man, a gold tractor on the White House lawn, man, when many of us barely could have enough money to fix our equipment. He said, I think I counted at least 3 times, to go out and buy a new tractor, man. So it's almost like it was an endorsement for John Deere and some of these other companies who, as you know, don't like black farmers too. Man, we don't have no money to buy a new tractor when we're trying to hold on to our legacy of farms here in this country. And this, I'm gonna keep saying it, that man right there you're looking at, that president is the one that has put America's farmers on the farm auction block. And like you said, bro, they're sitting up there clapping, man. Like they was just glad to be there. And anything he said, they was clapping for him. And I'm gonna keep saying it again. It's his policies that have put American agriculture in the bad shape that it's in. Those tariffs to Canada, China, Mexico, and now we over here in this war that's costing us $1 billion a day. And he keeps boasting about that American farmers are doing so well. When farm bankruptcies are up 46% in this country, but he said we're doing good. Farm suicides are up in this country, but he says that we're doing great. And record numbers of farm foreclosure in this country all happened on his watch. This stuff didn't happen on Biden's watch. This happened on this president's watch.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna keep saying it. He gets an F-, and that's probably why I didn't get an invitation to his meeting, because I would immediately say, what are you going to do to stop farm foreclosures in this country so that these 190 black farmers can keep their farm? I mean, that would have been my first question to this president.
We often talk about white folks voting against their interest. New York Times today has this article. A Republican farmer relies on immigrant work. He sees his party erasing it. For 20 years, Tim O'Harrell has asked lawmakers to acknowledge that America's food supply depends on immigrants. Politics went in the other direction. And I'm trying to understand, well, dumbass, why would you keep voting for Republicans? They are on record. Like, their policies are destroying your business, and this idiot keeps voting for them.
They keep voting for him. And Roland, guess what? It's almost planting season, and they're going to miss the migrant labor that some of these guys, and they're seasonal workers. They come here to get paid to send money back home to their community. They're not murderers and thieves and all these things that this president keeps saying that they are. Those farmers are going to miss that help, because guess what, Roland? Black people ain't doing farm work anymore for free and minimum wage and all that stuff. So they're not going to be the ones doing it. And I don't know if you remembered, the secretary and the president said, oh, the people who are on disability, the people that are on food stamps are going to do the work that these migrant laborers are going to do. Man,
no, they're not.
Tomatoes, man.
Look right here. Look right here. You know? Immigrant workers are the lifeblood of the O'Harrell farm, a 4-generation family enterprise with 1,600 cows in northeastern Wisconsin. But many of them will not travel to Mexico to see dying parents or drive to nearby towns to visit siblings or let journalists use their names in newspapers because they're afraid of being swept up in the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. And this right here is what I've had to try to explain to a lot of black people who are like, well, you keep defending immigrants. No, I'm not defending immigrants. I'm defending facts. This is what in the New York Times piece, it says that they need to hide strikes the O'Hara family as morally wrong, but also as potentially bad for the country. These workers oversee America's milk. By one estimate, dairies that employ immigrant workers produce 79% of the nation's milk supply, and the price of milk would double without them.
And you know what? We haven't seen anything yet. We haven't seen anything yet because this is going to be the first real season that the migrant workers won't be here the way that they have in the past. And you're going to see farmers not be able to make a crop, not be able to find the people that can do that work. And, you know, I'm not saying this in a bad way, but I don't have any migrant labor because, you know, I was taught to, you know, work hard. My daddy said, get out there from can to can, and I'll see you when I can, you know. So that's the way that black farmers are. So we're not the ones with migrant labor, but the large-scale white farmers, and they call them blocks, Roland. A block is 1,000 acres, and these guys got 7, 10 blocks, 10,000 acres, and they're going to need the migrant workers to make a crop. Those are the farmers that are going to miss it, and those are the farmers that continue to vote for this president. They voted for him 3 times, and from what I saw out there in that audience today, they're probably going to vote for him again. And that's called voting against your best interest. Anytime you're losing your farm, and you know that this president's policy is hurting me, but you keep voting for him because he's speaking all on your terms, a white-only America. And the reason I wasn't at that meeting today because they don't want black farmers there, Roland. All they want is to see in this country are white farmers, and that's what they think agriculture is supposed to look like.
Yep.
But they forget all the history and why they brought black people here in the first place. They didn't know how to farm. It was black people that came here and taught our white people how to farm because we were already raising corn and stuff in Africa, man. We came here and taught them how to do this stuff. And now they don't want us to own land. That's what this 190 foreclosures is about. They're trying to sell our land. And they don't want us to be able to produce healthy food for our people. All this is happening under this president, and he keeps hollering about Biden and Obama. Right. Way better. The price of soybeans that I sold under the Obama administration, $20 a bushel. Under this president, when he came in the first time rolling, it went down to $7 a bushel. And he keeps saying that he loves farmers, man. Something's wrong with this picture.
I'm going to go to the panel right now, but look at this here. Go back to my iPad. A 2023 study by the School for Workers at the University of Wisconsin-Madison found that more than 10,000 undocumented immigrants perform roughly 70% of the labor on the state's dairy farms, and Wisconsin voted for Trump. Matt?
And look here.
Matt?
That's exactly what I'm saying. He keeps taking away a population that is doing work that many Americans don't want to do. And putting ICE in the airports, that wasn't about helping TSA. That was about further antagonizing Hispanics, knowing that they're trying to travel and all these things. It's another way to have ICE there to lock up immigrants in this country, man. This president has got to go, and we got some midterm elections coming up. And if I hear another black person try to tell me that it's not important to vote, my vote don't count, and all this kind of stuff, man, it's going to be me and them rolling, because this is what happens when we don't vote in record numbers and we don't get involved in local elections and all of these things. You wind up with a president like Donald Trump that hates black people, and he's showing his hate and bigotry from an open microphone. They're not hiding this. They're doing it openly so that people can see, exactly what to do. And this week, they rolled back $300 million, a program that was set up that I lobbied for in Congress to get it in the Inflation Reduction Act bill, Roland, that allowed black farmers through these programs to buy land. And I fought like hell to get it in there. Now, this president is in office. They cut it that January, and they said, okay, we're going to leave a few of these programs in. Now they cut all of them. Now they cut the whole program. Anything to help Black people, they say that they can't do it. And then the next day, he invites 800 white farmers, to the White House while he's cutting programs that targeted and helped, Black farmers buy land. It's deplorable. It's deplorable behavior from the highest office in the land.
Let's go to our panel. Matt, what you got?
So my question, Brother Boyd, it's always good to see you. What I don't understand is how the farmers, even white farmers, are not exercising leverage. And I want to know really what is the leverage point here? Because, when we talk about, like, for instance, in COVID, one of the things people were worried about was supply lines and distribution, and all of that goes back presumably to farmers and what they yield. So what is the point of leverage, and how is that maximized here by both Black and white farmers? And before you answer that, all I want to say is I'm in South Texas, Roland, and you would think this would be the place that undocumented people are being, rounded up, and they're not.
No.
And part of that is because it's political, and as you know, being a Texan especially, they know that the economy relies on undocumented people, right?
And even though they're not rounding them up, it's destroying the construction industry in South Texas.
Correct. It is. But what I'm saying is the pageantry of all that roundup that's happening in Minnesota and all these other places is not happening in Greg Abbott's Texas to the way you would think it is, because Greg Abbott's saying, please, Mr. President, don't take away my economy and my political leverage. So there's some dishonesty laden in there. But John, I would love to hear your thoughts on the point of leverage, because I don't understand how farmers are not leveraging this political, circumstance, especially with how we saw them react to Chuck Grassley, I think about a year ago, when they were screaming their heads off at him. What is the point of leverage?
Well, the white farmers aren't trying to leverage anything that's going to hurt this president. We were sitting in the driver's seat when he first imposed tariffs on China, and then Mexico, and then Canada, in that order. And farmers were in the driver's seat, and they gave the whole issue. They gave agriculture to this president when they didn't speak up and push back against this president's tariffs. Oh, give him some time. We want to work with this president. They gave away our leverage as farmers. Black farmers, we're not that large in the scope of things in the whole agriculture sector, but on the southeastern corridor of the United States, we do hold some play there. Most of the Black farmers you're going to find from the Virginia Delmarva corridor all the way around to like where you are in Texas, and there's very few in places like Iowa and Montana, and then there's about 3,000 Black farmers out in California. But the white farmers gave away our leverage when the president imposed tariffs by not pushing back and not saying, we're going to do certain things if you keep these tariffs in place. And guess what? They're still here. The Supreme Court shot it down, and he's still quietly for I think from the day of the ruling, he had 180 days to impose some of these other tariffs that he quickly put in place. And they left him in place, but if anybody don't understand what he's doing, he's collecting the money. Nobody knows where the money is, and that's what this president do. He collects money, and he doesn't show people where the money is. And I had a meeting up in Illinois where Illinois farmers came in, Indiana farmers came in, and 4 of the farmers asked the same question. Boy, why we got $5 or $6 diesel fuel, and this president went and took all the oil out of Venezuela. He said, where's the oil that we just took from Venezuela? And that's what this president does. He steals and he keeps the money, and he doesn't tell the American people what he does with it. So he used our taxpayer to go over there and take the country, but he's not telling you what he done with the money once they collected it.
Michael.
All right, John Boyd. Hey, it's good to see you again. I saw you today on MSNBC with Antonia Hilton. I wanted to.
We ain't giving no shout out to other networks.
Well, he's all over the place. He did a good job.
MS Now ain't shouting us out. We ain't giving them no freebies.
Well, no, I watch multiple things, Roland. So
but we ain't giving them no freebies.
Okay, Roland. All right.
All right, man.
But John, the question I have for you, you just talked about the $300 million land buying grant program. Now, you were quoted in an article from thegrio.com, March 25th, 2026, just 2 days ago. And this piece talks about USDA cuts to $300 million land buying grant further starves Black farmers, white only America. Okay. And you talked about how this program is from the Biden era program intended to provide technical support and help farmers buy land.
Now, Michael,
Yeah,
Michael, I want to remind you, Michael, he talked about that on this show before he went on there.
No. This is from the Grio.
I know
this
that.
is from the Grio.com article.
Well, I know that.
So I understand, Roland.
Right, but John was on this show talking about that like 3-4 days ago.
Yeah, I saw him then too, but I'm just citing the article from the Grio. So yeah, Roland, you get credit for that.
So if you're gonna cite the Grio, hell, just cite the show him on 3-4 days ago.
Okay,
what we doing here?
3-4 days ago. Hey, Roland, I'm gonna help you out, man.
This is some people.
Roland had it first. He had it first.
We know that. We know Roland and this black cowboy had it first. I understand that. But what I wanted you to do, John, is just talk about this, because this is something that gets classified as a DEI program. And you have a lot of ignorant Black people out here who said the Biden-Harris administration didn't do anything for Black people and that DEI only benefited white people and white women. Talk about more how this program benefited Black farmers that you actually know and represent, please. Thank you, Roland.
And before I do, yes, absolutely. And you have to look at all of the land that we lost in this country. From the turn of the century, we lost 20 million acres of land that was in the hands of Black people. And was a lot of that land came during the USDA era, Old Farmers Home Administration. And we lost that land through a program called Lease Back Buyback, where the government went around and said, we're not going to take your farm, we're going to put it in inventory and allow you to lease it. We wound up with 1.5 million acres of land in inventory. We never got it. And I spent 40 years trying to get it. And once we got it, the administration repealed it. And Roland knows the story. Stephen Miller and all those guys actually sued us and stopped the land and $5 billion from coming back to us. So I was able to get this piece in there that allowed us to have technical assistance through various groups that service Black farmers and other farmers of color. That piece was good because it allowed them also to purchase land, to use that some of that grant money to purchase land, something that's what I've been all about the whole time. Roland would tell you, we go back probably 15, 20 years. And so I was glad to get that piece in there. And instead of Bill Sack rolling it out swiftly, he took his sweet time, and now it's rolling over into this administration, who quickly looked at it and said, you know what, they want to call it, DEI. And here's what people I need to understand, Roland. They change our name every 10 years. Hey, board, you got to change your name now to Farmers of Color to get some traction on the Hill. Hey, board, you got to change your name to Social Disadvantaged Farmers, Farmers of Color, all of this stuff. So they keep changing our name, and now they call us DEI. And it's just another way to do away with programs that help Black people when white farmers got all of the subsidy. That's what that bill was about, man, because I said they got all of the subsidy. We didn't get any. And I'm trying to level the playing field. Stephen Miller and that bunch said, this is just this reverse discrimination that only helps one group of people. But he left out who got all of the $1 trillion of subsidy the whole time I was trying to get it, which was white farmers. So that's what happened in a nutshell. And this is another blow to Black America, who needs to wake up.
Yep.
Stop talking this nonsense, man. Wake up, let's band together and pull together and be ready to fight back in these midterm elections and get rid of this president, man, and get somebody in there with some galls when we do get a candidate to make sure that person has the galls to say, you know what, we're going to put in our programs when we come in, and we're going to do them expeditiously, and we're not waiting to help other populations in this country.
Danielle?
Thanks.
Yes, I'd like to know, what are the Black farmers doing to come together and strategize around how they're going to combat the things that this administration is putting up against you all?
I'm out here doing the best that we can, and we're holding regional meetings. And I'm gonna tell you something, and I know this is the platform that I can say this in. We got a lot of scared Black people out here, Roland. You know, it was a farmer in Illinois just this week, and who clearly said, well, you know, I don't want my name out there publicly because the Trump administration may push back and foreclose on me sooner. And I had to explain to him, if you're in foreclosure, that is the last step for you. And the only way to get some help is to get public and let other parts of the country know, other Black leaders and some other persons in this country to get the ability to write a happy check to help you out. You're going to have to get public, man. So we got a large population of Blacks in this country that simply are afraid of this administration. And everybody ain't like me and Roland, who's going to get out here and call the shot and call it a spade, and all these things. We need other people to step up and help us here. You know, I've been on Roland's show, and guess what? Not one Black billionaire has called me to say, hey, boy, I want to help you write a happy check for these 190 Black farmers that are in foreclosure. So there's things that we have to do better amongst ourselves. While we already know that from the likes of this president out there with the gold tractor, that gold tractor was not for Black people. So we got to start wanting ourselves. We got to start working together. And we got to do it expeditiously. We can't sit back and say we're going to wait another 3 years for this president to leave while we lose you know, the remaining acres that we have amongst Black people in this country.
Absolutely. John Boyd, keep the fight going. I appreciate it, my brother.
Thank you, man. I love you guys.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. All right, folks, got to go to a break. Yeah, I'm going to have to tell Michael, reclaiming my time. All right. Let me, coming back, we're going to talk about Pete Hegseth showing his racism by denying opportunities to promote Blacks in the Pentagon. We'll talk about that. Also, a member of Congress from Florida, she's in trouble, found guilty by a House Ethics Committee of 25 charges. We'll tell you about that as well. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
A decade of love, joy, and power. Black Voters Matter is 10 years old, and we are just getting started. This is love with a purpose. This is Black joy in motion. This is unstoppable power. Across campuses, neighborhoods, and back roads. Let's go! We show up, not just to vote, but to be seen, to be heard, to belong. We ride together, we organize together. We remind each other that our voices matter, because they always have. Black Voters Matter is about more than ballots. It's about housing and healthcare, clean water and living wages, education, reproductive freedom, and dignity. It's about turning pain into action, turning belief into movement, turning community into power. We don't wait to be invited. We bring the energy. We bring the love. We bring the people. Because when Black communities come together, we don't just survive, we thrive. This is how change happens. This is how history moves. We organize, we build, we win.
Hey everybody, I'm TD Jakes, and I want to encourage you to watch Roland Martin Unfiltered. It'll blow your mind.
The House Ethics Panel has found Florida Democratic Congresswoman Sheila McCormick guilty of 25 violations related to ethics charges. Friday morning's decision was the result of a secret vote following Thursday's 7-hour hearing and overnight deliberation by the House Ethics Subcommittee. McCormick faces censure, reprimand, removal from committees, or even expulsion from the House. The Justice Department indicted her in November on charges of stealing and laundering $5 million in federal emergency management agency funding. Her family's healthcare company, Trinity Healthcare Services, was working with FEMA through a COVID-19 vaccination contract and allegedly got $5 million overpayment. The DOJ claims that she and her brother did not return the money, instead routing it through multiple accounts and using it to fund her successful 2022 special election campaign. McCormick has denied any wrongdoing and pleaded not guilty in the federal criminal case. The Ethics Committee will hold a hearing after the House's 2-week spring recess to determine whether to impose any sanctions against her. And a prominent contractor from Chicago died following a shooting that happened in broad daylight near the United Center. According to police, 67-year-old Jerry Lewis was shot in the head on Tuesday afternoon. He was transported to a local hospital, and that's where he died. Family members described Lewis as a successful contractor and developer who played a significant role in Project 1901. That's the multi-billion-dollar redevelopment around the United Center. They report that he was just walking between two offices when two gunmen approached him and opened fire. As of now, there's no information regarding any suspects or motive for the shooting. A Maryland woman hired a crew of 6 Guatemalan workers to replace her roof for a $10,000 project. When it was time to pay, she called Immigration and Customs Enforcement to report them. As a result, ICE agents took the workers into custody. Legal experts say that if these allegations are true, the homeowner could face felony charges under Maryland law. The Maryland Criminal Law Code prohibits obtaining labor or service through the threat or actual use of reporting someone's immigration status to authorities. The statute aims to prevent situations where employers or clients exploit undocumented workers by using the threat of immigration enforcement as leverage to avoid payment. And a former sergeant for the Detroit Police Department is facing serious allegations of living a double life as a serial rapist. Prosecutors have charged 68-year-old Benjamin Wagner with 5 separate sexual assaults involving girls and young women between the ages of 15 and 23. The alleged assaults occurred in Northwest Detroit between 1999 and 2003. The cases are linked to a backlog of nearly 11,000 untested sexual assault kits discovered in a 2009 warehouse, which date from 1984 to 2009. Wagner served with the Detroit Police Department from '89 until his retirement in 2017. After retiring, he moved to Greenville, North Carolina, where he was arrested on March 17th. He now faces a total of 14 charges, 5 counts of kidnapping, 8 counts of first-degree criminal sexual conduct, and 1 count of third-degree criminal sexual conduct. Prosecutors are encouraging anyone who may have been a victim to step forward and contact the Detroit Police Department. And media mogul Tyler Perry arrived at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport in Atlanta on Thursday, intending to distribute a substantial amount of cash to struggling TSA workers during the government shutdown. But he was stopped by federal regulations that prohibit government employees from accepting monetary gifts while on duty at the airport. TSA agents have been working without pay since February 14th. The funding delay has resulted in long wait times for travelers at airports, with some reporting waits of nearly 3 hours. Also, Pinky Cole, the founder of Slutty Vegan, achieved a significant victory in her efforts to regain possession of one of her rental homes in Georgia that a creditor had seized. Cole filed a motion in bankruptcy court to reclaim the property so that she could rent it out for income. But last week, she reported that a creditor had changed the locks on her 6-bedroom, 4-bathroom house in Loganville despite her bankruptcy filing, which had temporarily halted the collection actions. Well, her attorney, Jamie Christie, noted that the creditor did not appear in court, leading the judge to rule in Cole's favor. A Black woman who spent a decade working as a janitor at Yale Hospital is now on her way to becoming a doctor. Shay Taylor Allen has been selected as one of the newest residents at Yale School of Medicine in Connecticut. She began her journey at the hospital as a janitor. She was 18 years old then, but now at 32, she's excited to share her story after being matched with her first choice residency. Taylor Allen, a Howard University College of Medicine student, describes the experience as surreal as she returns to her hometown of New Haven. Her mother's illness inspired her to pursue a career in medicine, although she only decided to become a doctor during her sophomore year of college. The House Ethics Panel has found...
All right, Brooke, first of all, I certainly appreciate that. Brittany, be sure to watch The Breakdown with Brittany Noble every single day, noon Eastern, right here on the Black Star Network. Again, The Breakdown with Brittany Noble every day, noon Eastern on the Black Star Network. All right, y'all. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, he really wants all-white leadership in the Pentagon. He has removed 2 black Army officers and 2 female Army officers from consideration for 1-star general promotions. It sparked allegations of racial and gender bias. This is the report in the New York Times. They're exclusive. Hegseth strikes 2 black and 2 female officers from promotion lists. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's highly unusual decision to remove officers from a 1-star promotion has spurred allegations of racial and gender bias. And when you go through this article here, he literally decided to strike them. But here's what's crazy. It says right here, 2 of the officers targeted by Mr. Hegseth are black and 2 are women on a promotion list that consists of about 3 dozen officers, most of whom are white men, senior military officials said. Mr. Hegseth had been pressing senior Army leaders, including Army Secretary Daniel Driscoll, for months to remove the officers' names, military officials said. But Mr. Driscoll, citing the officers' decades-long records of exemplary service, had repeatedly refused. Earlier this month, Mr. Hegseth broke the logjam by unilaterally striking the officers' names from the list, though it is not clear he has the legal authority to do so. The list is currently being reviewed by the White House, which is expected to send it to the Senate for final approval. A few female and black officers remain on the list, military officials said. Now, y'all gotta understand, he's fired a lot of black folks. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Brown, my alpha brother, fired. The brother who was, of course, leading the fleet in those attacks against Venezuela, guess what? Relieved of duty. We could go on and on and on. And in fact, check this out. It also says the frustration with Mr. Hegseth's approach came to a boil last summer during a heated exchange between Ricky Buria, Mr. Hegseth's chief of staff, and Mr. Driscoll about a separate promotion. Mr. Buria chastised the Army Secretary for selecting Major General Antoinette R. Gant, a combat engineer who served in Iraq and Afghanistan, to take command of the Military District of Washington, said 3 current and former defense and administration officials familiar with the exchange. The command provides security and performs ceremonial duties in the nation's capital, and its commander often appears alongside the president at Arlington National Cemetery. It said Mr. Buria told Mr. Driscoll that Trump would not want to stand next to a black female officer at military events, the official said. Mr. Driscoll was shocked. Quote, "The president is not a racist or sexist," he told Mr. Buria, according to the officials. Mr. Driscoll then raised the issue with a senior White House official who agreed with his assessment of Mr. Trump. Mr. Hegseth's office retreated. General Gant began serving in the position last summer and was promoted to 2-star rank earlier this month. Now, Danielle, here's what's crazy. Pete Hegseth wrote this book complaining about woke military and they were sacrificing and all this sort of stuff. He attacked African-American former Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, retired 4-star general. Hegseth don't even have 1 star. Attacking them as well, y'all focusing on diversity. No, what they said was, we want to reach deeper into the list, so we are promoting highly qualified individuals. Bottom line is this here. Pete Hegseth, he wants white leadership. That's what he wants. In fact, this is what, let's see right here. This is what the Times said. 43% of the 1.3 million troops from active duty are people of color. But those leading the military are overwhelmingly white and male. It says right here in this piece, first of all, Hegseth disparaged senior officers in the military under Austin, calling them cowards hiding under stars and whores to wokesters. Right now, after he fired General Brown and Admiral Franchetti, who was a woman, the chairman and the vice chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, all 5 service chiefs, and 9 of the military's 10 combatant commanders are white men, a return to the status quo that existed for decades. MAGA, we keep saying, not make America great again, make America white again.
Yeah, first of all, Roland, you keep calling me Danielle.
I'm sorry.
Cody Danielle.
But you Cody Danielle.
Yes, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
gotcha.
I'm sorry, but I did do a little bit of a name switch here for branding purposes.
See,
so,
y'all can't be doing that. See, you can't be sitting here switching shit up and then go, you keep calling me Danielle, I'm Cody Danielle. Well, damn. So which one is it? Cody Danielle, Danielle, or Cody?
It's Cody Danielle. Before I was Cody D. So it's
okay.
You
Now,
know, in the
because
same
before
vein.
you were Cody. See, I was calling you Cody D before. Now you Cody Danielle. Lord Lord have mercy. Go on ahead.
It's okay. Well, look, I do feel like this situation of a misinformation campaign around diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is just another example of how the Trump administration never truly understood what DEI actually is. And, you know, they keep using the word meritocracy. Well, Pete, where's your merit? You don't have any. You don't have the credentials to be the Secretary of War now, not the Secretary of Defense, but the Secretary of...
No, it's not. No, it's not. Only Congress can change the name of a department. He's still Secretary of Defense.
Okay, Secretary
it ain't war.
of Defense.
They can slap whatever name they want on it. Congress has not changed the name. Just like the Kennedy Center is the Kennedy Center, not Trump. Yes. That takes an act of Congress. Go ahead. Go ahead, Cody D, Cody Danielle.
Roland, don't do this, okay? but they keep going on with this misinformation campaign around what DEI is and what it is not. And, you know, I just wonder, you know, did Pete Hegseth even look at the profiles and the records of these officers before he decided to block their promotions? Probably not. Like you said, Roland, they're just trying to increase the profile and have white men be the lead or the people who are only the face of all of these, I don't want to say organizations, but the face of all things within the government. And at the end of the day, it's just all showing their incompetence while they're in these positions of power.
Matt?
Well, first, I want to say Cody didn't switch anything up. You got her name wrong. Don't try to put that on her. Anyway.
Man, I will reclaim my time and move the hell on. You better make your damn comment.
Go ahead. Move on.
You better make your comment.
I'm not going to let you do that. You the one got it wrong. Don't put that on her.
Man, you better finish your damn comment. See, right now you wasting my precious time.
You know what? Go ahead and take the rest of my time. It's all good. Go ahead, Michael. You got it.
Come on. Make your little short, inefficient comment. Come on.
All right. It's all good. It's all good, Cody. You've been salty for weeks. Here's how I feel.
Ain't nobody been salty for weeks, but I'm glad you decided to wear a Howard Dyson shirt today. Come on. Did you
First
watch?
off, I've worn a Howard shirt the last.
Did you wash it from last week?
Times I've been on here.
Did you wash it from last week? Did you wash it from last week?
Yep.
Okay, just check.
I sure did.
Go ahead.
That's right. Yeah. All right. In any event, I think Cody's right, and I think the thing that's
no, it's Cody Danielle, Matt.
Pete.
It's not Cody. It's Cody Danielle. See,
is right.
See?
So I think that Pete Hegseth, are you ready for me to finish the comment? Can I talk?
Get the name right, Matt. Get the name right.
Is you done? Why do you invite people here if you don't want us to talk, brother? All right. Anyhow.
Stop filibustering.
I think that Hegseth is a lot like Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz and all these people. It's all pageantry. And what's insidious about it is, look, Secretary of War, all the grandstanding, it's all BS and none of it is hidden. We know what they're doing. And I don't understand really why people that high up in the military are not just revolting. I mean, and I understand you swear a duty to the country and to the Constitution, but it stands to reason that when you have somebody who is acting against the interest of the military in terms of, taking people off of a promotion list unilaterally merely because they're black rather than white, I mean, that to me seems to be a per se existential crisis for people who have served the military and for the military's health. Because if you get all the way up, you work up there, you deserve that rank, you earn that rank, and you're being divested of that rank or disallowed from getting it purely because you're black, that would make people disinclined to join the military, particularly at a time where the Army is raising the age purely because they want more people. So I don't understand how that's in the military's best interest. And if you're in the military or retired, I don't understand how you're not in full revolution against that, because that is directly inconsistent in my thought of the health of the military and its continued prowess.
The reason they're not going to do that is because they report to the commander-in-chief. And Hegseth has made it clear he will fire anybody at any time. That's why, Michael, the thing here is by denying these promotions, you're affecting the economics of these black folks. Not only currently being paid, but when they retire, if you retire as a one-star general versus a colonel, it has an impact on your pension for the rest of your life and your family.
It is impacting the economics of African Americans as well as their family. It's impacting their careers, but it will probably also diminish, at least for the foreseeable future, many African Americans who want to go into the military as a career, okay, including those with degrees who will go in as an officer. Now, what's interesting here, and I read a lot of the piece from the New York Times. It's a very in-depth, long story. They said it's not clear that Pete Hegseth has the legal authority to unilaterally strike officers' names off of the list. Okay.
Yeah, no, I read that.
Yeah. So once again, here you have an unqualified DEI hire who allegedly used to get white boy wasted, who was a former Fox News a weekend host. And here you have him apparently overstepping their legal authority. But once again, they're targeting very qualified African Americans. We see this across the board in the Trump administration. So this continues it, and whether we call it DEI or something else, it's an all-out open war on black people, and that's what people really have to understand. That's taking place right now.
Well, and
these are the consequences of elections.
And the problem, he keeps saying, it's about merit. Well, the promotion list is apolitical and it's merit. No,
yes, it's merit-based.
Hegseth does not want black generals. Simple as that.
Correct.
Okay, and that's the bottom line. And they don't want women in leadership. All right, folks, Thursday, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruled that mandatory life sentences for second-degree murder are unconstitutional. Chief Justice Deborah Todd said the law requiring a life sentence for anyone convicted of felony murder violates the protections against cruel punishment outlined in the state's constitution. This law mandates that anyone involved in a felony resulting in death will receive an automatic life sentence, regardless of whether they committed the killing or intended for anyone to die. Currently, over 1,000 individuals in Pennsylvania are serving these sentences. The justices noted that while life sentences may be appropriate in some felony murder cases, it is unconstitutional to enforce this penalty in every instance. The ruling will be on hold for 120 days to allow state lawmakers time to address the issue and revise the state law. No word on whether or not this is going to impact the 1,000 people who are in prison. Matt, I keep telling people this is why state Supreme Court races matter. And so where there are, whether the U.S. Supreme Court does not rule, states do. And the reality is you've had progressives that have been pushing back against hardcore right-wing Supreme Court justices in Pennsylvania. This is the result of what happens at the ballot box.
That's exactly right. This is exactly why elections matter, because you need people who are going to make, just decisions like the Pennsylvania Supreme Court did here. And to add a little context, what felony murder is for people who don't know out there, it's generally murder that where somebody dies in the course of a commission of another felony. So that would be an example, would be an aggravated robbery. Let's say we go rob a bank. We're driving away from the bank. We hit somebody on the road and they die. That would be a felony murder. And it's generally prosecuted that way because they don't have a standard murder, which would say you intentionally or knowingly intended to kill that person. So I don't know enough about this case. I haven't read the case, but what I think is particularly good about that is because it creates a delineation between what we consider to be intentional murder, right? Murder where you premeditated or you do it purposely, as opposed to a death that is not necessarily an intentional murder. So I'm glad the Pennsylvania Supreme Court looked at this with a fine-tooth comb, because this is exactly the kind of, nuance in justice that we need to find. And there are many other things that need to change, but I think your premise is right. I think this is exactly why state Supreme Courts matter and why elections matter on the state and local level.
Folks, on Thursday, a spokesperson for the South African presidency announced that the United States pressured France to disinvite South African president from the G20 summit scheduled for June. This development follows months of strained relations between South Africa and the U.S. over various issues, including South Africa's genocide case against Israel and Donald Trump's disputed claims regarding not disputed claims, his lying, not disputed, his lies about the persecution of white Afrikaners. Vincent Magwenya, spokesperson for the South African president, released the following statement. We've learned that due to sustained pressure, France has had to withdraw its invitation to South Africa to attend the G7 meeting. We're told that the Americans threatened to boycott the G7 if South Africa was invited. So South Africa will not be participating in this G7 meeting. Trump has frequently clashed with the South African government by imposing a 30% tariff, promoting discredited white genocide claims, and boycotting a G20 summit held in Johannesburg. Although the U.S. Supreme Court has since overturned Trump's tariff policy, international relations between the two countries remain strained. I'm sorry, this is where France should have told him, go kiss my ass, go to hell. We're going to invite them, and if y'all don't want to show up, that's on you. This is what happens when you bow down to bullies and thugs.
Yeah, Roland, that is true, but you're dealing with colonizers. And this is what people have to understand. Yeah, I agree with you. France should have said that. But France, these are colonizers. So they're working together. Now, they did. Now, I read about this, and the French foreign minister did deny that and said that France had faced, quote, no pressure, quote, to exclude South Africa from the G7 summit. But these are the...
Fine. Okay, fine. So if France faced no pressure, why the disinvite? Like, this ain't hard. Either they invite it or they're not.
Because they're colonizers. This is why. France colonized Haiti. These are former slave owners. They're colonizers. So they're all in bed together. So, and then you have South Africa. You have the conflict between the Trump administration and South Africa. You have Trump bringing white South Africans here to the country, claiming there's a genocide, things like this, imposing sanctions on South Africa, et cetera. Yeah, Roland. So, I mean, this is not surprising, you know. So, I mean, this is white people being white.
Yep, I got you. Nearly 2 years after North Carolina's voter ID law went to trial amid allegations of racism and voter suppression, a federal judge upheld the requirement, ruling against the NAACP, which had initiated the lawsuit. In her 134-page ruling released on Thursday, U.S. District Judge Loretta Biggs, appointed by President Barack Obama, acknowledged that the law could have a disproportionate impact on racial and ethnic minorities. However, she noted that recent U.S. Supreme Court precedents compelled her to uphold the law. The NAACP, which filed the lawsuit in 2018, argued that the voter ID law discriminates against Black and Latino voters who are less likely to possess a photo ID. Earlier this month, we told you about the Republican-aligned political group Democracy and Justice PAC, which sent lying mailers on the redistricting referendum campaign to mislead Black voters ahead of Virginia's special election on April 21st. The mailers misled Black voters to vote no on the referendum and referenced the bill to Jim Crow-era suppression. Now, the same MAGA dark money group is trying to fool Virginia voters with another lying mailer that has an unauthorized photo of President Barack Obama and lies about his position on the Virginia referendum. Here's the truth. President Obama supports voting yes on the referendum. This is a video that he actually put out.
Free and fair elections are the cornerstone of our democracy, but right now they are under threat. Over the past year, several Republican-controlled states have taken the unprecedented step of redrawing their congressional maps in the middle of the decade. And they've done it for a simple reason: to give themselves an unfair advantage in the midterms this fall. In April, Virginians can respond by making sure your voting power is not diminished by what Republicans are doing in other states. This amendment gives you the power to level the playing field in the midterms this fall. And voters will have the final say over what the maps look like. This is the responsible thing to do. It's also a temporary measure. After the 2030 census, Virginia will go back to a system that lets a bipartisan redistricting commission redraw the maps. We can't afford 2 more years of unchecked power and zero accountability in Washington. Help us chart a better path forward, Virginia. Early voting begins on March 6th. Election Day is April 21st. Vote yes, Virginia. To get involved, go to virginiansforfairelections.com.
Well, these lying pricks, this is what they keep sending out. So right here, this says, let voters decide, not politicians. They're quoting Obama from that same ad. They're literally pulling his quote out. He's not supporting this. And then on the back, vote no on gerrymandering. They're using a quote from Obama from 6 years ago. Danielle, Cody D. I hadn't messed with you. And this is the actual mailer of the group that he's supporting. And so this is what, you are trifling when you got to lie in order to try to trick black people. And shame on those Simple Simon Negroes in Virginia who endorsed this and accepted this.
Yeah, I think I was on the show the last time we talked about another misleading mailer that went out in Virginia as well.
Yeah, the first one. The first one they sent out.
Right, and I believe you had a guest on, I don't remember her name,
yep.
But she came on to talk about what they were doing locally to combat that. So the thing that I do appreciate is that there does seems to be a boots on the ground type of effort in Virginia to make sure that the voters there are informed as to what's actually going on. And I'll take it a step further. For people who are receiving some of these mailers that may or may not seem to be deceptive, I mean, I would just question everything. I mean, I'm constantly having to tell my dad, like, he sends me stuff that he sees on social media, and I'm like, I don't think that actually happened. I question everything now because everything is fake and everything is done by AI and things are being words are being twisted and things are being misconstrued. And so this is the time for people to actually compare notes. It's imperative that people are actually reading the information they're receiving. Compare your notes to your local political organization, in this case, the National Democratic Redistricting Committee. But also, this is just a sign that MAGA is scared of what's to come in November during the midterms. I mean, clearly, they are feeling the heat. They're feeling the pressure. They know that Donald Trump's ratings are down. And so they know that when it comes to the elections, both the primaries and the general election in November, that people are going to show up to the polls. That's also why they are doing everything they can to suppress our voting rights with the voter IDs. So I just want to make sure that everybody is out there actually reading the information that they are receiving. Talk to your political organizers in your community and make sure that you are keeping your registration up to date.
I'm very clear. Virginia voters, vote yes. Black folks, I want you turning out in massive numbers. You got all these Republicans who are whining and complaining about what Democrats did in Virginia. But let me remind y'all, they were quiet when Republicans stole 5 seats in Texas. They were quiet when Republicans in North Carolina stole a seat of Congressman Don Davis, which is the original black seat in North Carolina. They were quiet when Missouri Republicans got rid of the seat of Congressman Emanuel Cleaver. So I don't want to hear a damn thing from any Republican who is complaining that Democrats are doing to them what they did to Democrats. It's FAFO. And so Virginia, vote yes. Early voting begins. Vote yes on April 21st. Republicans in the 5 largest counties, they are coming out. And I'm telling you, black folks should be coming out in huge, huge numbers to actually vote. And in fact, we're going to be going down south in Virginia. We're going to be at Virginia State and Norfolk State with Senator Mark Warner and Virginia Speaker of the House Don Scott, April 9th and 10th. We also are going to have a special hour focusing on this 10-1 map. And so I'm telling you right now, if that's the game they want to play, fight back, okay? Fight back. And that is take them out at the ballot box. And so what Republicans have done, they have gerrymandered maps all across this country. Wisconsin, Florida, North Carolina, Texas, you name it, they've done it. And so, yeah, payback as a mother. And let's pay them back on April 21st, Virginia, and absolutely, positively vote yes. And with that, you see, I'm sitting here wearing my Alpha shirt. First of all, we vote. As I said at the top of the show, Bishop William Barber last night announced an effort that we are working on, that he and I are launching, and that is our goal is we want to get a minimum of 1,000 Brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated nationwide to agree to be trained when it comes to of mobilizing and organizing folks to vote. So here's what we want to do. If you're an alpha, I want you to send me an email to roland@blackstarnetwork.com. Roland@blackstarnetwork.com. Put in the subject line alpha. And I want you to put your name, your city, state, address, email, cell phone. Now, if you are a brother, and again, we're doing this for a specific reason. If you are a brother and you want to be involved in this, send an email to the same email and put black men in the subject line. And same thing, I need your name, your address, your city, state, your email, and your cell phone. And this is important because here's the problem. We talk about this all the time. Folk wait until September, October to get engaged. No, we are focused on this now. We had a great panel last night in Raleigh where we talked about what needs to be happening. We need to be having voter education and mobilization and classes, civic classes, happening every single week somewhere. We need to be streaming those sessions as well. Teaching people about City Hall 101, County Government 101, School Board 101, State Government 101, Federal Government 101, and connecting the dots. All of this is important, okay? All of this is important. And that is what is so important here. And so I need us to understand what is going on, okay? What is going on here? And that is we need to stand up, organize, and mobilize. We're going to continue connecting these dots, showing you what MAGA is doing. Donald Trump is not leaving before, unless he gets impeached or the 25th Amendment, he ain't leaving before January 2029. But his power can be restricted if Republicans lose control of the House and or the United States Senate. That's where we must be focused on. And so we want to target several different states. Mitch McConnell is not running in Texas. We want to target Kentucky. I'm sorry, not running. He's not running for re-election in Kentucky. We want to target Kentucky. Ohio. You heard me say earlier, Vivek Ramaswamy wants to get rid of Central State. That we should be every Central State graduate and every black person who's in Columbus, Dayton, Akron, Cincinnati, Cleveland. We should be mobilizing, organizing, and flexing our power in Ohio. Obviously, you got Ossoff running for re-election in Georgia. You've got Roy Cooper, former governor of North Carolina, there in North Carolina. You've got James Tallarico, who's either going to face Ken Paxton or John Cornyn in Texas. And also, of course, you got black folks running for the United States Senate in Florida, also the governor's race. You've got a sister, we're going to have her on the show next week, who's running for Attorney General in Georgia. This thing is happening. This is happening. This is not a moment for us to sit on the sidelines. This is where we need everybody fully engaged. Because I'm telling you, they are targeting black America. There's a bullseye on black people in this country. And so I don't care what any rapper has to say who got a pardon. I don't care what anybody else who's talking about, how Trump is their best friend. These people do not have the interest of black America at heart. They want to destroy the entire black infrastructure of civil rights, economics, social justice, education, health, you name it, they want to destroy it. They spelled it all out in Project 2025. And so we want brothers of Alpha to stand up. And hey, it's a challenge. That means that Kappas, Omegas, Sigmas, Iotas do the exact same thing. We want to see AKs, Deltas, Zetas, Sigma Gamma Rho doing the same thing. Prince Hall Mason, we need y'all in the game. Jack and Jill, in the game. Lynx, in the game. Eastern Star, in the game. We've got all this black infrastructure all across America, all these black organizations, and every single one of them needs to be involved in this because they are all impacted. If we're talking about economics, we need Black Economic Alliance, we need the Joint Center, we need the Executive Leadership Council, we need all a global black economic forum, all these black groups. We don't need y'all talking just to Wall Street. We need y'all talking to MLK Street. And so this is a call to arms that we are calling for, and this has to happen now. And so Bishop Barber and I are committed to this. And so Alphas, we want y'all to step up. Send an email, roland@blackstarnetwork.com. Brothers have already been sending emails since I posted on social media this morning. And so send us that email, and we're going to begin, once we get our numbers, we're going to begin to really lock and load on training, virtual training on how to organize. And the whole strategy is not macro, it's micro. We want to be able to tell folk to pull the data of specific black precincts and look at the numbers of how many eligible voters there are and how many are registered and how many voted in the last election, and do block walks and precinct walks where they are. And so we're not interested in trying to sit here and say, oh, we're going to register everybody. No, we're talking about targeting the numbers, because elections are won on the margins. And so, again, if you're an alpha, if you want to be involved in this, and let me be real clear, we ain't playing games. This ain't, as Biggie said, this ain't party and bullshit. This is real work. So send us an email to roland@blackstarnetwork.com. If you're an alpha, put alpha in the subject line, your name, your address, your city and state, your cell phone, your email. That's what we want. If you're a brother who's not an alpha and you're not in D9 or any other group, but you want to be involved in this, put black men in the subject line and get the same thing. We're going to make this thing happen because, again, the future of black America is at stake. I've got 9 nieces and 4 nephews. This is about them and other black kids across this country. Matt, Michael, Cody Danielle, Cody D, Danielle, I appreciate it. See, we're going to always, Michael, what's that, like a field goal or something? What is that? What is that?
You know what it is,
is that, I'm sorry. You doing hook 'em horns like Matt. Is that what that is?
Nah. You know that's a Sigma, Roland.
I have no idea what that is. I don't even.
All I'm gonna say is 88 to 57, Roland.
I don't even know.
You thought you was gonna get out this episode not talking about Houston beating y'all down?
Oh, I'm good.
88 to 57.
No. Here's why I'm good.
88 to 57.
No, son. Here's why I'm good. First of all, y'all lost by about 50. Here's why I'm good. Our entire team bounced. Our coach put together a hell of a season. He had 1 returning player. So we're going to be solid next year. You better worry about your own little school. All right. Again, Cody, Danielle, Matt, Michael, I appreciate it. Alpha's always rule. Thanks a bunch. I appreciate it. All right, y'all, don't forget, support the work that we do. Y'all, this is what this is about. We ain't got time for all this other little silly stuff out here that people are doing. What we do here, we focus on the work. We focus on the work. So if you want to contribute to our, of course, our Bring the Funk fan club, please do so. Cash App. Use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. Use that for credit cards as well. Checks and money order. Make them P.O. Box. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo's RM Unfiltered. Zelle, roland@rolandsmartin.com. roland@rolandmartinunfiltered.com. Download the Black Star Network app. Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Samsung Smart TV. You want to get our Roland Martin Unfiltered swag? Please do so by going to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Man, we got T-shirts and hoodies and zip-ups, and we got wall art, mugs, all kind of stuff at shopblackstarnetwork.com. And of course, we support black-owned companies. And when you go to shopblackstarnetwork.com, you're going to see all of these black-owned companies right here. All of these products you see right here are black-owned companies that are on our shopblackstarnetwork.com. And you can get hats and T-shirts and dolls and skincare stuff. You can get spices, seasonings, sauces. I mean, you name it. We got dog treats, backpacks, candles, all that sort of stuff. So please support these black-owned companies. We talk about the collective. We talk about how we have to buy black, support our own. We've got some amazing companies with amazing quality products, and so we must be supporting our own. We must spend with our own, and so please do so by going to shopblackstarnetwork.com. And when you buy these products, you're also helping this show because part of the proceeds come back to us. And so this is how we were able to help one another. So go to shopblackstarnetwork.com, our marketplace, to check out all of these products right here in our marketplace at shopblackstarnetwork.com. All right, y'all, that's it. I appreciate it. I'll see y'all on, tomorrow, the Friendship West, I'm sorry, not Friendship West, my former church in Dallas. Friendship Public Charter School. They have the Teacher of the Year program. I've emceed that for like the last 8-9 years. It's taking place tomorrow at 7 p.m. We'll be streaming it right here on the Black Star Network. So I look forward to that. So I can't wait to see Pat and Donald Hintz and all the teachers. It's always a great, great event. So we'll be streaming that tomorrow. And I'll see you guys right here Monday. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Holla!